everyone, welcome back to another day in the 100 days graphics design challenge. So today we are going to be designing a roll-up banner, a Binance roll-up banner. So very quickly, without wasting much of our time, let's get right into the design. So very quickly, create new. I'm using this 110 by 2650 pixels. I'm going to click create. So the next thing I'm going to do is to bring in all the resources I'll be using for this design. So very quickly, I'm just going to head on to my resources. Okay, so I'll just drag this like this and I'll bring it into my Photoshop this way. I'm going to hit enter. Okay, enter, 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 enter. So I'm just going to close up the eyes of the ones that I'm not using now. So the next thing I'm going to do is to click on this particular image. I'll click on it and I'll reduce this like this and I'll take it up this way. Okay, then I'm just going to hit enter and I head over to this place. Very quickly, I'll bring in my rectangle and I'll drag it over like this. Okay, to have something like this. I'm just going to zoom in to have something like this, and then I'm just going to adjust this. Okay, then I'll change my color. I'll click here and I'll change it to this color. I have something like this. Then I'm just going to bring in my ellipse tool. I'll drag it over as well. Okay, I'll bring it this way and I'll rotate it like this. Okay, I'm going to change the color, so I'll just drop my tool. I'll click here and I will change it to this color. So I'm just going to take it to the other side. Okay, this way. So we now have something like this. I'm just going to hit enter. So the next thing I'm going to do is to bring in my image. Okay, this is it. I'll take it up and then I'll click on this together with this one. And I'll click Ctrl G to group them. Then I bring this up this way. Okay, enter. Then I'm just going to click here and I'll change it to overlay. And I'm going to reduce the opacity to 30. Enter. Okay, so we have something like this. I'm just going to click it to this. Okay, now after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to bring in my circle. So I have a circle here. I hold my shift and I drag. Okay, before that I'm going to duplicate this ellipse. So I click here, I open up this group, I'll click on this and I'll press Ctrl J to duplicate. Okay, I'll just adjust it, bring it down this way and I'll take it out of this group. Then I'll just bring it down here and I'll reduce this holding my shift and I'll rotate this like this. Okay, pick it up this way, enter. Then I'm just going to change the color. I'll click here and I'll give it this. Okay, enter, and I'll just adjust it a little bit more. So we now have something like this. I'm just going to click here and I'll change my color. I'll double click here and I'll change it to white and I'm going to drop a shadow. So I double click here and I'll click drop shadow. Okay, I'll just leave it this way and I'll hit OK. Next thing I'm going to do is to bring in this I just drag it upward like this. Then I click here and I will use this to just drag it this way. Okay, so we have this and I will click here. Okay, then I'm just going to right click and I'll convert to smart object. Then I'm just going to place it on this ellipse, something like this. I'll make sure it's aligned. I'm just going to hit enter. So this is what we have. The next thing I'm going to do, I'll bring in my logo. I'll take it up like this. Okay, so I'll make sure it's at the center. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is to add my text. I'm just going to say get started with our mobile app today. So I'm just going to type that very fast. I'm just going to increase this. Okay, so you have something like this. I'm going to hit enter and I will change the color to white. I'll give it a white color. Okay, then I'll just drag it like this, and then I'm going to say mobile app today. Okay, so I'll just change this to medium. Yeah, medium. And for this one I'm going to change it to medium as well. Okay, I'll just double click and I'll select the mobile app and I'll increase it to semi bold. So we have something like this. I'm just going to increase it so that it's aligned with the get started. Okay, enter. Then I'll just bring in a rectangle. Okay, I'll drag it over this like this, and then I'm just going to adjust this. I'll leave it at black and I'll take it to be beneath this. Okay, I'll adjust that. Okay, so I'm just going to open up the eyes of this one and I'll make sure this rectangle is placed well. Okay, so I'm just going to click this and I'll reduce this a bit. So I have something like this. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is to add a little bit of text here. Okay, just a little bit of text, not too much. Here I'll reduce this. I'm just going to drop my tool. Okay, and then I head over to properties. I'll click here and I'll change it to regular. Okay, I'll reduce this. Okay, then I'm just going to click it this way, so we have something like this. I'm just going to adjust this. I'll click layer with my rectangle. I'll just take it down a bit. Okay, and I'll just take this up a bit as well. So I have something like this. The next thing I'm going to do is to bring in my phone image. So I open up this with this and I'll click on this. I'll take it up to see what I have. Okay, I have this. I'm just going to click on this one, on this particular one, and then I head over to select and I'll click subject. Okay, I'm just going to zoom out. So I have this. I'm just going to click here I'll make sure it's at plus, and then I'm just going to do something like this and something like this. Okay, and I'll click here. So we now have this. Next thing I'm going to do, I want to place that image on it. So I'll draw something like this, and then I'll make sure it's covering my phone. Okay, okay. Then I'm just going to give it a curved edge. Let's see what we have. Okay, okay, so we now have something like this. Next thing I'm going to do, I head over to my layers and I'll bring this above. Okay, so I'll right click and I'll clip it to the rectangle that I've done, and I'll reduce it. Okay, I'll hit enter. I'll adjust this particular rectangle. Okay, just to make sure. Okay, I'll hit enter. So I have something like this. I'm just going to click shift, I'll control G, I'll right click and I'll convert to smart object. So I have something like this. I'm going to drag it down. Okay, I'll place it this way and I'm going to hit enter. So I'm just going to zoom in. Next thing I'm going to do is to bring in a layer. Okay, this layer is going to have a shadow, so I'll just increase this and I'll just drop this here. I'll hold my shift and I'll take this down this way. I'll bring it to this like this, and then I'm just going to adjust it this way. Okay, so I'll reduce the opacity, so we have something like this. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to bring in a circle here. I'll draw it this way holding my shift. Okay, not too much. Then I'll bring it here. I'll increase this. I'll hit enter and I'll give it a color. I'll click on this, enter. I'll head over to layers and I'll take it to be beneath this image, and then I'll click on this. I'll create a new layer here. I'll take it beneath this. I'll just click here. I'll reduce this and I'll just create. Okay, Ctrl Z. So I have something like this. I'm just going to reduce the opacity as well. Okay, so this is what we have. Next thing I'm going to do is to add some text here. I'll add some text here. So I'm just going to right click and I'll bring in this. I'll just drag. I want to create a tick. Okay, I'll change the color to black. Okay, and I'll also drag another one here. Okay, I'm just going to drop my tool after that. I'll click on Z and I'll zoom in, and I'll click on V to drop in my tool. So I click here and I'll just take this way, enter. I click here, I'll take it this way. Okay, and I'll bring it this way. and I'm just going to hit enter. I'll make sure it's aligned. Okay, let's see. Okay, I have something like this. I'm just going to head over to my layers, this rectangle, shift this, Ctrl G. I'll right click, convert to smart object, and then I'm just going to double click on this, and I will change the color overlay. I'm going to leave it at this. Okay, so I have something like this. I'm just going to rotate this, and then I'll just adjust it this way. Okay, so I'm going to place it here, and I'll hit enter. Okay, then I'll bring in a circle. I'll just, okay, Ctrl Z. I'll right click, circle. I'll just click here, holding my shift. I'll drag. So I have something like this. I'm going to remove the fill and give it a stroke. Okay, enter. So I have something like this. I'll make sure it's at the center of this particular image. So I just head over to layers, I click on my ellipse, and I'll adjust it. So this is what we have. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'll click on this. I'll click here, and I'll click it together with my ellipse. I'll just Ctrl G, and I'll reduce this way. I'll just move it like this, and I'll take it up. Okay, then I'll just add 3 more of it. I'll hit 2 more of it. I'll hit enter, Ctrl T. I hold my shift. Okay, Ctrl Z, enter, Ctrl J, Ctrl T, and I'll just drag it holding my shift key, and I'll do the same here. I'll just say Ctrl J, Ctrl T, and I'll drag it as well holding my shift. So we have these 3. I'll make sure the space here is the same as the one here. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add some series of text. So the first thing I'm going to say is 247 support. Okay, so I'll just click here, I'll add it here. I'll just say 24/7 support. Okay, so I'm going to change this color to black. Enter. Then I'll change this. I'm going to use semi bold, and I'm also going to increase this as well. Okay, so I have something like this. I'll just bring this here. Okay, I'll hit enter. Then I'll just duplicate this text. I'll hold my Alt and I'll drag. Okay, so I'll just take it down. So I'll change the color first of all to black. Enter. Then I'll click my T on my keyboard, and then I'm just going to adjust this. Okay, so I have something like this. I'll just drop my tool, and I'll take this to this place, just this particular one. I'll reduce this. Okay, not too much, and then I'll drag it to this place. I'm going to click my text tool here. Okay, then I just click T on my keyboard. Okay, so I just adjust this like this, and I'll drop my tool. I'll reduce the size of this. I'll take it to 4. Enter. Okay, then I'll reduce the spacing in between as well. So I'm just going to click here, adjust this, click here, adjust this, and I'll adjust it this way. Okay, then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on this, shift this. I'll just click my Ctrl J to duplicate, and I'll drag it up. I'll click Ctrl T as well, and then I'll take it up like this. Okay, then I'm just going to say easy navigation. Then the same thing for the last one. I'll click this, and I'll Ctrl J to duplicate. Okay, then I'll just Ctrl T, and I'll take it up holding my shift key. So I have something like this. I'm just going to say user friendly. Okay, so I'll just type user friendly. I'm just going to zoom out to see what I have done. I'll just click on this group, this, shift this, and I'm going to adjust this. Okay, then I'll click this one, Ctrl T, I'll take it up. Okay, enter. I'll click the second one, this one, I'll Ctrl T, and I'll take it up as well. Okay, holding my shift, enter. Then the same thing for this one, and I'll adjust this. Okay, enter. So I'm just going to adjust my text very quickly. So I'm just going to adjust my phone a bit. So very quickly, I'm going to draw a rectangle too, very tiny rectangle. I'll draw it over here. Okay, okay. Then I'm going to draw another one here, very tiny. Okay, okay. So I'll just drop my tool, and I'll click on this. I'm going to change the color. I'll use this, and I'll head over to my layers. I'll reduce the opacity to 50. Enter. Okay, so the same thing with this one. I head over to color. I'll click on this. I'll use this, head over to my layers, reduce the opacity to 50. Then I'm just going to click here, and I'll hold my Alt. I'll just zoom in. So I think this rectangle is too big, so I'm just going to hold my shift and just make it thinner. So I have something like this, and I'm going to take it this way, enter. So I'll just Ctrl J to duplicate, and I'll move it. Okay, this is too thin. Ctrl Z. I'm just going to hold my shift key. I have something like this. Okay, perfect. So I'll hold my Alt key, and then I'll just drag holding my shift key. I'll just have 3 rectangles here. I'll drag holding my shift. So I have this and this. I'll just group them together, and I'll adjust them. Enter. Okay, so I'm just going to shift this a little bit, and I'll click on this one, and I'll shift it as well. Okay, then I'll just shift this one a little bit holding my shift key. Then after that, I'll click here, I'll click on this. I'll hold my alt, okay, and I'll drag it this way holding my shift. So I'm just going to add some text here. Then I'm just going to draw my two here. I'll draw an ellipse two here, okay. Then I'm just going to say more information needed. So I'll change this color to white, okay. So I'm just going to edit this, okay. Then I'm going to reduce the spacing in between. I think it's too much, okay. Then I'll just increase this a little bit, not too much. I'll bring it here and I'll double click. I'll change this color. I'm going to use regular, and then I'll change this one. I'm going to use medium, and then I'll change the color. I'll change the color to this, okay. Then I'm just going to bring in a circle here holding my shift, okay. I'll click here and I'll change the color to this. I'll bring it here, okay, and I'll also do the same thing the other side. I have something like this, okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to add the text I want to add here. So I'll do that very quickly, okay. So after I'm done with that, I think the rectangle is so visible. So I'm just going to click and I will change their colors. I will make it a lighter color, okay. Okay, I think this is okay. So I'm just going to change the rest of them. So as you can see, the space here is too much, so I'm just going to bring down my text, okay. So with that, we have come to the end of this particular design. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video. Do like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay, bye.